I'm so glad you're here. Hello, my beautiful blossoms, and welcome to my channel where we talk about makeup, art, design, and entrepreneurship. This video is a part one of a two-part series where we talk about an artist, a designer, a maker, and it is the new series called Makers and Makeup Monday. Does that sound familiar? Because honestly, it is strongly based on Bailey Sarian's Mystery Murder and Makeup Monday. I have been watching her for years. I think she's awesome, and I just wanted to add a little bit of my own twist to it. I am an artist, a self-taught artist and designer, and I am a teacher as well. That is my full-time gig, and as my part-time gig and my passion, I do art that I then transfer to create designs on textiles, specifically on accessories such as scarves and eye masks and many other things. Well, not many, but a few other things. If you're interested, please check out my website. It is mila-such.com, and I am actually the sponsor of this video. So if you like learning about artists, talking about their life, their struggles, their successes, to create some encouragement and to learn from other people's journeys, I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button, if you would ring the bell so that you know when the new video comes out. It would greatly help this channel and all the people who will become a part of it. I am sure we're going to grow as a community, and I'm going to make a separate video describing what my vision is for this channel, how I would like to contribute to creating and helping other artists, other creators. And if you're interested in watching my video about what I think a creator is, please do check out the video linked below. So let's jump right into it. Today we are talking about one of my favorite artists, Maria Prymachenko. She is a Ukrainian folk artist who started her journey in the early 20th century. She has a very interesting life, has had a great impact on art world in general, and she's one of those people who I relate to because she creates very colorful, powerful pieces that she meant to have and to spark joy in others. And that is also my goal as an artist and as a creator. I love when others smile and when I see my energy infecting other people with joy and happiness, which is what I put into my art, into my paintings. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. So next take, we're going to be barefaced. We'll be putting on makeup, and I will be talking about the first part of Maria Prymachenko's life, which is from when she was born until when she got married in the early 1940s. So here we go. Stick around. I know I'm yellow, so we're gonna have to correct that. I don't look so yellow in person, but on camera, I look like Bart Simpson farted on my face. I don't know. It might be my lighting. I'm still new. So ooh. Okay, yes. Bart Simpson is history. So I've actually, like I said, I put a little bit of the base on, and I have my mascara on as well, but we're going to keep going from here. Okay, we're just gonna say the fairies are trying to come in and help me because I need it. So Maria Prymachenko was born on January 12th, 1909. She was born in a tiny little village near Kiev, Ukraine. I already said Ukraine, right? Yes, I did. And the name of the village was Bolotnaya. Now, I do speak Russian. I don't really speak Ukrainian that well. I can understand it if you speak very, very slowly. So if I pronounce the words and they sound funny, that's why, because they are funny. Anyway, so she was born there. She lived with her mom and her dad. Her father and her mother were both creative souls, as they say. So her mom was actually a really incredible embroiderer, and her father was a very talented carpenter. He would carve these really beautiful heads on top of wooden fences and fence poles that he put up. Always remember to push your makeup onto your neck. She was born a happy child from what I have found, and this was right after the Russian Empire started having some cracks in the system. So Ukraine was trying to break apart. People were mostly poor. They were mostly serfs. Food was not something that was abundant. However, Ukraine was always considered the breadbasket of Europe, and especially the eastern countries of Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Romania, Yugoslavia, all of those countries over there. I believe over time we're trading with Ukraine, and Ukraine had food to offer. So, breadbasket. We'll get to what happens with that later. She was living in this small village, happy little girl who enjoyed drawing, and at the age of between 7 and 8, Maria caught polio. Now, if you don't know what polio is, it is a really horrible disease. It is a viral disease that affects your spinal cord and your muscles. You're in a lot of pain. A lot of times your muscle tone becomes very, very weak. And that's what happened with her. She actually ended up limping because of side effects of polio. But because she was such a happy-go-lucky child, she didn't really let this get to her. And because of the fact that she wasn't able to help out in the field, because, serfs had to go work on the field to earn their keep, also just, to survive, she wasn't able to do that. And from childhood, from everything I have found, always had this desire to make people happy. Like, she wanted people to be in a good mood. She wanted them to feel good and to be happy, which at that time, I think lots of people were kind of not so happy and hungry. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. She was very observant, is what was said. She was very kind, and she was very affectionate towards her villagers and her family. So what happened was, one day, her father, who realized that his daughter is in pain and is sitting home, can't really do much. Her father has gotten her a goggle of geese. I know, but it's so cute. Come on, goggle of geese. Is it goggle of geese? Gaggle. Oh my God, gaggle of geese. If you giggled at my goggle, it's actually a gaggle. A gaggle of geese. What do you want? I'm bilingual. What she did was, they were basically like her pets. She would take them to the stream to get some water, to have some new grass. And as she was walking, and this is from her words actually, she remembers when she first really got inspired was when she was walking the gaggle of geese down to the stream, and she saw this beautiful scene of rolling hills, and that was covered with flowers and all these birds flying around her. It made her feel really good. So when she got to the bottom of the brook, she got a stick and she started drawing these really pretty, unique flowers in the sand with a stick. And she's like, wow, those look kind of cool. Later on, she said that she really didn't become super serious about her art until she was about 17. It was like 1926 by that point. So she has lived and survived with her family through World War I, through the Ukrainian Soviet Revolution, which I think it was in 1917. Through that time, she continued to paint, but she more painted, on little pieces of paper that she would give the notes to her neighbors, to her friends. She never wanted anything in return. Obviously, she never wanted anything back. But when she was 17 years old, she found blue natural dye by the river. And with that blue, she decorated the inside of her house. And then she started decorating the outside with all of these incredibly unusual, beautiful, unique, and completely out of this world flowers, fauna, and beautiful animals. She had this really unique take on how to draw everyday animals that she saw and combine them and create these incredible mystical creatures that people were just like, where are you getting this from? She drew lions with chicken feet and they had tails like snakes. She had birds that had human faces, and she had birds that had amazing kind of flowered wings, and it was just so colorful and beautiful. So people in the village were like, whoa, that is cool. Can you do that on my house? And when she was 17, I keep saying that, but when she was 17, she actually got her first commission. If you're an artist, your first commission is like everything. But she didn't ask for money. She did it because she wanted to, because remember, she just liked making people happy. She enjoyed seeing the joy on someone's face when they saw her art, but they still wanted to pay her back somehow. So they paid her with a pig. The pig was the payment. And because of that pig, her family survived through some pretty horrible famine. This is not very widely known, but there was a horrible famine that was actually created by Stalin. And it started in 1932, and I think it lasted for 2 years. It was in 1932 and 1933. Stalin has decided that Ukraine and 2 more provinces, countries near Ukraine that were considered to be not as patriotic as they should be. So they created famine in a country which was considered to be the breadbasket of that part of the world. They would not allow any food to go in, and they would not allow anyone to leave. And this is again 1932 to 1933. So people starved. They were eating dirt, and it was a horrible, horrible time. So when I read that somebody traded her a pig for her art and it helped her family survive, I think starvation, I am going to think that is what they're talking about. So I just wanted to, I guess, bring a little bit more attention to that particular part, because when I started looking up the numbers, it was called Holodomor. Over the period of 2 years, over 10 million people have died. 10 million people in that area. And out of those 10 million people, 7 million were from Ukraine. When I read about the life of some of these artists, and I'm floored by how much they had to go through. And it always makes me feel so good to see that a lot of the artists actually are indeed just happy. They want to spread the happiness out there. They want to share their joy, and they want to see the joy in other people's faces and eyes when they look at their work. And I just I would like to spread that idea of having creatives that are actually happy folks. They're happy people. In other words, you don't have to be a starving, well, you can be a starving artist. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to be a miserable person. You don't have to create trauma or drama or have some kind of mental distress to create artwork or to be considered an artist. Just saying, not minimizing or saying that it definitely happens, and it's not something that should be ignored, but it is indeed not necessary to produce art. Anyway, let me just move on to the next topic. So after that, her first commission, I think she pretty much decorated the houses of most of the people in the village. She was also becoming to be pretty well known outside of her village. She was discovered in 1936. She was about 27 years old during a talent search in Ukraine. They were looking for artists, creatives that represented Ukrainian tradition, Ukrainian folklore, and she was invited to study. And this is I just want to make sure that I don't forget to say that she was not a formally trained artist. She was not educated in the form of art. She was self-taught, and she just did whatever she believed looked good and felt good. The funny thing is, she later shared that a lot of her paintings, a lot of her artwork, a lot of her ideas came from her dreams. She would dream about these creatures, these scenes, and when she would wake up, she would want to put it on paper. So when she was 27 or 28, she was discovered. She was asked to study art in the Ukrainian Museum of Art located in Kiev. I would think that being a girl from a small town ending up in a big city is a little scary. And it was said that she was never really comfortable about living in Kiev. She really just wanted to go back home to her village. She wanted to go back home to her people. So I don't know. I could not find any information on how long she ended up staying there. I did find information on when she met her one and only love, and she fell in love with this young, striking military man. His name was Vasil, and she met him, I think, it has to be between 1937 and 1940, because she was invited to stay in Kiev in 1936. And then very shortly after they met, they had a beautiful romance. I could not find much information about, their relationship or, where her husband was really from. I just know that he was in the military, and they fell in love right away, and they got married, and they did not have a lot of time together. And the reason they did not have a lot of time together is because World War II. This poor lady went through World War I, the revolution, got starved for 2 years, met the love of her life, and now she had to let him go because it was called to go and fight the Nazis. And she waited for him. And back then, you couldn't text somebody and be like, "How are you, honey? Are you doing all right? When are you going to be home?" She had no idea what happened to him. Communication was really, really poor. They communicated with letters. A lot of times letters from the front, were not the fastest to arrive. She did not know where exactly he was. She did not know if he was hurt, but eventually, I think it was a few years down the line, she was waiting for him. And a few years down the line, she has gotten notified that her beloved was indeed killed. She was heartbroken. It was said that it affected her so deeply that she stopped creating. She was mourning the loss of her husband. The good thing is that she did have a son. In 1941, her son was her everything. She taught him how to paint. She taught him how to create these beautiful creatures that she has herself envisioned. She was pretty happy, I think, once she's gotten over. Well, do you really get over the death of somebody that you really love? I don't think so. I think she's just was able to move on and continue her art, and thank God she did, because she has created some of the most beautiful, unique pieces that I have ever seen. It was funny too, because when I was doing my research, I came across an article that had her quoted. Remember I told you earlier that a lot of her paintings came from her having a dream? Well, apparently she said that she got this really horrible feeling, and she believes it was on the night that her husband was actually killed. And when she had that horrible feeling, she said that she was walking through the garden. She saw that all of the flowers in the garden were growing in the wrong direction. So basically the flowers' roots were growing up, and the flowers' petals and blooms were pointing down. Her and her son, so she did not stay in Kiev. She eventually went back to her hometown, spent her days there creating her art, and teaching her son how to continue in her footsteps. And honestly, there's just so much more of her life that I'm going to share, and it's getting really long, so I am going to stop here, and I am going to continue with the rest of the story in the next part of this video. But I just want to talk a little bit about overcoming some horrendous things in your life. Oh God, and Maria certainly did that. She was able to overcome all of these awful things that were out of her control. She lived through some very difficult times, and she continued to create beautiful art.